Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the Darkest Timeline podcast. And it really is the darkest timeline. I think we can all agree with that, can't we? If you don't agree, I reckon you'll probably get 5 minutes into this podcast and maybe decide to change your opinion. Yep, it certainly is a dark one, so try and stick with it if you're here for the entertainment stuff, or fast forward through it. Your choice. Speaking of choices, you can make the choice right now to like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop us reviews. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have a friend or family member who loves a podcast, send them this podcast and they'll thank you for it. Well, maybe not this one. Anyway, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. How you doing? Is this recording? I've been having so many technical issues when it comes to podcasts. I feel like every week I'm having to change something, or try something different, or try something old, or try something new. But this looks like it's working, so we'll go with that. How are you doing? You well? I feel like every week now I start by saying I'm not doing too well. I'm in a really bad way. I'm in a really bad place. And you know something? They always tell you to talk to someone. Talk to someone. If you feel like you're not doing well, you should talk to somebody. And it's always the same. It's always the same realization that the big part of the reason why you feel the way you do is because you don't have anyone to talk to. Which weirdly brings me on to the first thing I was going to talk about. There's other bits and pieces that relate to what I was just saying. Sort of sprinkled, that's the word I was looking for, sprinkled through this episode. But first thing I wanted to talk about was the other day I was walking the dog. It's a common occurrence. The thing about walking the dog that I've found, I never realised, is you get like dog walking friends. Or you get people that you see while you're out walking the dog frequently. So I've made all of these sort of like kind of friends in a way whilst I've been out walking the dog over the last nearly 2 years, which is nice. Sometimes got the time and opportunity to stop and chat, and sometimes don't. And that often feels quite rude. But you know, sometimes you just got to get the dog walked before you go on to do something else. So, one of these people that I've sort of been talking to when I've been bumping into them, got into a conversation the other day. And I would say, personally, that I consider myself to be quite a private person. I don't go shouting my business from the rooftops. I talk to some people about some things, but like I was saying before, a lot of the time I feel like I struggle to find someone to talk to about the things that I want to talk about, for a variety of different reasons. So I'm out walking the dog, I get into this conversation, and I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened to cause the conversation. But the conversation started steering down a particular path. Like, you know, And I was just talking about like points in my life, parts of my life, things like that. And then I got so far and I started going, why am I telling this person these things? This person isn't a stranger, but they're also not a close personal friend. I'll tell you this much, at this point in time, I didn't even know this person's name. When you meet dog walking people and you don't know their name, you often find that you know the dog's name. So you refer to that the human as so-and-so's mum or so-and-so's dad. Like that's Charlie's mum. You don't know that person's name, but you know the dog's name. At this point in time, I didn't even know this person's name. I started realising that I was going down this is probably a little bit too much information for somebody I don't really know. Which was fine up until the point that it kept going. And kept going, and kept going, and kept going. To the point where I'd said something that I sometimes say to people in passing, and nobody really bats an eyelid. I said something to this person, and they focused on it, they zeroed in on it, and they asked me a question. And I was like, oh my God, what do I say to this person? And very quickly I was like, I've got two choices. I either tell this person the truth or I lie about it. And part of the sort of the instinct of the whole situation was, I don't know this person, so I should not necessarily lie about it, but just gloss over it maybe. And then I realised in this split second that the split second had gone just a little bit too far. And I was like, oh no, I need to answer this question. And next thing, told the truth. Was just like, there's the truth for you. And the conversation carried on and even more stuff was coming out. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I couldn't understand it. I couldn't get to grips with it. I didn't know what was going on. I've never had a situation where I've been talking to a stranger and just blurted out a load of stuff. I walked away from this conversation and I was in bits. I was just like, it was a combination of things. It was like, why have I done this? What was the reason for this? Why did I tell this person that I don't really know all this stuff about myself? Then I was like, what's that person going to think? And then it was kind of like, also, I've had to deal with the fact that I've told not quite a stranger, but not exactly a friend, personal details about myself. I had to address that issue, and that upset me. So I was upset. And for a good few weeks now, I've been upset. Again, some of the stuff we will talk about, some of the stuff will come up. I can't shake this funk. I can't get out of the way of this. I feel like week in, week out, I'm getting hit in the face with a train, and I just can't seem to get out of the way of it. And I know that if I could get out of the way, I'd be all right. Like, next Monday, I work on the principle that I'll be sitting down and be like, oh, I feel better now. I feel fine now. I feel better than I did. And, that's an improvement. But I've thought that for the last 3 weeks. And we're still having this conversation. Anyway, at time of recording, it is October. In theory, when you receive this, if you listen to them regularly, it should still be October. But at time of recording, it's the beginning of October. And I got it into my head that I wanted to do Sober October. When I asked people if they knew what Sober October was, there was this thing about raising money for charity, and I was like, no, I'm not talking about that. I don't want to raise money for charity. Jeez. I was talking about the Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Irish Affair, Joe Rogan version of Sober October. This has been going on for years. A good few years now. When it gets to October, they do no drink, no drugs. I think sometimes they take it as far as like no nicotine, so like no cigars or something. But then I think other times they don't. But also there has to be a challenge element, and each year the challenge is different. And obviously, as somebody who doesn't drink, I wasn't overly focusing on the no drink, no drugs. I was focusing on the challenge. So I was like, who can I find to do the Sober October with me, but just the challenge side of things? And I went through a lot of people in my head, and a lot of the times I came up with a resounding no. That's in my head. There are people on that list that I've asked previously to do it with me who have given me a resounding no. And I did eventually, just before October, ask some people if they wanted... No, that's not true. No, sorry. I asked people if they knew what it was. And they said no. And I was like, what is this? And I didn't get any response on it. So, I'm like, for fuck's sake, nobody wants to do Sober October with me again. I was like, you know what? Sod it. I'll do it on my own. I'll do it myself. Like, there are times where I'm just a little bit too full of myself. I'm like, well, there's nobody who can compete with me anyway. So the only person who can compete with me is me, so I'll just do it on my own. Those are the few and rare times that I'm actually full of myself. So I was like, right. And I've laid out a set of rules, and a set of ground rules, and a set of what I want to achieve. And I was like, right, here we go. October is well underway. I was then listening to a podcast with... No, it wasn't. I wasn't listening to a podcast. I was watching some Instagram videos of Bert and Tom talking about Sober October and what their challenge is. And their challenge is every day you have to do a 500 calorie workout and you have to do 100 push-ups. And knowing what everything I had in my head, what I was going to attempt to achieve in October, I heard that and I went, I don't want to do that. No, I'm good, thanks. And then realised, that's just what everyone else hears when I suggest it. So I was a bit like, right, fine. And it's so weird because there's that part of me that knows that I probably do a 500 calorie workout every day anyway. And doing 100 push-ups, when I first started trying to get into shape, I used to do 100 push-ups a day as part of the thing that got me started. And I know that there's that thing that it's like, you can bang out like 20 as soon as you get out of bed, and you can bang out 40, at lunchtime, and you can bang out the rest by the end of the day, sort of thing. But there was that part of me that was like, I don't want to do that. So there we go. October, well underway, and I'm already well underway. Again, that might come up in a bit. Oh my word. What is this? The third week in a row that I'm going to say this? Even more new music. Another album to listen to. Drowning Pool's new album came out. I downloaded it almost immediately and listened to it almost immediately after downloading it. I'll say this very much like when I talked about the Aussie album. I've only listened to it 2 or 3 times. I can say this much: there is a song on there that the first time I listened to it, I thought it was that bad, I had to skip it before the end. I was like, I've got to skip this. This is terrible. I get really weirded out when like metal albums are like, hey, this is it's going metal now. Let's have a singy song. Like, what? Who is this for? And I was literally walking down the street, walking the dog, and I said out loud, "Oh yeah, going to be playing this live on stage, are you? Because if not, why is it on the album?" What it did give me the opportunity to do, it did give me the opportunity to go back and listen to Ozzy's latest album. Again, I've listened to that a few times now, and I will say this. My opinion of that album changed ever so slightly. I quite like it. It's quite good. I realise, having listened to some of Ozzy's older stuff, that Ozzy does like a singy song on his albums, and I do like to skip them, and that's not changed up to this one he's done. But the other stuff I'm quite digging. I'm quite into it. I'm quite enjoying it. So yeah, I think I'm just surprised by this influx of new music. Like I keep saying, as an old man who's firmly stuck in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if you take out the 80s, it's weird when new music comes out by bands that I've listened to going back as far as, like I say, mostly the 90s, let's face it. So, big thumbs up on the new music front. One of the things that I will talk a fair amount about, I've already talked about some of it, what I'm going to talk a fair amount today is about exercise, health, fitness, and all this sort of stuff, and how it is very much a double-edged sword. Obviously, it has its benefits. It has a lot of benefits, wild number of benefits. I'm maybe going to talk a little bit about the other side of it, the darker side of it. One of the things I was going to talk about was I keep saying to you guys about how come Friday I am dead in the water, and I always use Friday as a point in time because Friday is the last workout of the week for me, which is a new concept for me and something that's taken a little bit of getting used to. But Friday isn't the end of the week as far as exercise is concerned. And Saturday is in fact the end of the week. Or at least it used to be, and we'll come to that in a bit. So, Saturday, way back in the days, like at least a couple of months ago, it was always like do a run in the morning, try and do a big run in the morning, and probably a workout. Nowadays, it's different, but not that much different. So I do a run, and I've started taking the dog with me. So Saturday morning looks like this: get up, take the dog for a run, get home, feed the dog, then take the dog for a walk. Why, you ask? Because I don't want to lose out on the steps. Yeah, we're gonna cover that as well. Get home, get the dog settled, probably drink a coffee or something, then go on the treadmill for half an hour. I've probably nearly done 10,000 steps by 10 o'clock on a Saturday. So in my head, Friday's the end of the week. But it absolutely isn't. And again, I know I keep saying I'm going to come to it, but the realisation that there is no end to the week has been a little bit of an issue. So, come the point in time where I have to switch into parent mode, the last few weeks I've realised that come parent o'clock, I'm not exactly the most chipper of people at that point in time, which is no good when dealing with children of all ages. It's just no good. It's just not gonna help. And Saturday just gone, I was proper like, I don't have anything to offer. I am dead on my feet. And I realised at that point in time that this is potentially an issue. This is potentially a problem. You can't, burn through all of your energy by 10 o'clock in the morning and then be expected to parent for the entire day. So that's been causing issues. Something else that's been causing issues recently, for me, I'm not sure, whether it's just me or what. Something I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about, but I was working on the principle: if I don't talk about it here, who am I actually going to talk to it about? Been struggling parenting recently. Been struggling. Part of me wants to say spending time with my children, and part of me doesn't want to say that because I know that sounds awful, and that isn't it. It's the, oh my God, I'm so incredibly tired. I'd really like to sit down. I'd really like to not do anything right now. So then you fall into, hey guys, what do you want to do today? Nobody has anything half the time. I don't know. What do you want to do? That's not what I'm asking. You can guarantee the other 50% of the time what you're going to get is, hey, let's do this wildly extravagant thing that costs a lot of money and is a really long way away. Like, have you got anything in between these two things? Have you got anything in between nothing and wildly extravagant? You get, can we go to the park? Hells yeah, let's go to the park. Went to the park the other day and was like, do you know something? I might just run home and get some food and drinks and we'll just stay here for the rest of the day. Because honestly, they were having way too much fun. Not way too much fun, but they were having a lot of fun. And they just kept going, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? I'm like, you're going to have to pick one because you can't do them all. And then I started thinking, maybe that's not true. Maybe they can do it all. Let's just stay here all day. I've been getting sad. Spending time with my children. And that's not how it sounds, and it's not how I mean it. I love spending time with my children. I get sad. I get sad about the politics of spending time with my children. Had another one of those things. Had an amazing experience where I'd ordered something. I ordered a birthday present and it didn't turn up. And it was one of those things. I chased it literally the next day. I tried to chase it literally the next day. And as we know in those situations, oh yeah, we're a 24-hour service that's closed right now. Cool. That's super helpful. And you know, we really do need you to jump through multiple hoops. It's like, okay, I'll start jumping, shall I? So I went through all of that. Got to the end of that process and it just defaulted back to the main screen. I was like, cool. So after about 7 times of that happening, I was like, I guess they're not open. Left it till the next day. Jumped through all the hoops again and managed to get through to speak to somebody. And it was very much a, hi, this item hasn't turned up. And I was kind of going down the route of, can you just tell me when it's going to arrive? Even though you've already told me when it's going to arrive, and it hasn't. Straight away, they were like, oh, I'm just going to check on that for you. Yeah, that item's lost. Here's a refund. I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. Part of the reason it was fine was because I'd had an email the day before. Like, hey, you just bought this item. Would you like this item, which looks better and is cheaper? Well, yeah, but I've already bought that thing. 2 things came together. One item didn't turn up. The other item looked really cool. Hey, guess what? I'm using my refund to order the new item. So, we all know what's going to happen. We can all see what's going to happen. It practically writes itself. This morning, I receive a parcel. I open the parcel and go, hey, there's that missing item that I got a refund for. Immediately start feeling bad, like, for fuck's sake. I opened it, I looked at it, I was like, that's really cool. Like, really cool, like the kind of cool where you've not quite read the full description of the item, so you didn't quite know exactly what you were getting, and when it's turned up, it's better than you thought it was going to be. That kind of cool. Later in the day, the second item turned up. So another item, it's like, okay, I open it and I go, fuck. That's not quite as good as the first one. Shit. So now I've got this difficult decision, and it's not really a difficult decision at all. I'm going to have to send the second item back. But a man who believes somewhat in karma, after the day I've had, I'm going to get to it, don't worry. If I return the second item, I'll get a refund, which means that I got the first item for free, and that doesn't sit right with me. I really don't like that. And part of me is like, can I get in touch with the company who did the first item and try and pay for it? Can I say to them, hey, this turned up, will you allow me to pay for it? Is that an option? There's that part of me that thinks that my punishment for this should be to keep both items. Is that really a punishment, though? I don't think it is. Anyway, I'm a slave to the rings, people. Remember ages ago I was talking about expensive items. I don't know if I revealed what one of the items was. I get very vague sometimes, and I know it can be probably quite annoying. One of the items was an Apple Watch. I used to have an Apple Watch years ago, and I hated it because it didn't do anything that I wanted it to. Obviously, years down the line, technology has improved, and I decided, hey, it's time to get another Apple Watch. Well, guess what? This one doesn't do the things I want it to do either. Big thumbs up there, kids. Big thumbs up. What it does do is it does allow me to track health and fitness a lot better than just sticking my thumb in the air. So, in a lot of ways, it's better. Or is it? So you get like these, like you get badges and challenges and badges for completing challenges and badges. We don't need no stinking badges. So you get these badges, and one of them is like a streak. Hey, you did something yesterday, and you did it today. Have a badge. And then the next day, you get the same badge because you've done it for 3 days. And then the next day, yeah, you get the idea. In fact, I might even be able to see if I can find it. Oh, now it's going to start pinging at me because... where is the thing? It's this guy. Right, longest move streak badge. 37 days. 37 days. Okay, so 37 days. What's nice about that is that tells me that for 37 days I've achieved my goals. What's not nice about it is on a Sunday, my biggest activity is walking the dog. Take the dog for a long walk. That walk equates to something like 8,000 steps. It's 1.99 miles. That's not annoying at all, believe me. Take the dog for a walk. And then sometimes do stuff, sometimes don't. But without a run, without a workout, another run, go on the treadmill, another dog walk, often walk the dog again. But without all that stuff in the middle... yeah, you ain't getting that ring, boy. You are not getting that ring. But that doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit well with me. So, well, let's get that ring. Let's get it. Let's get after it. Let's fill the ring. Oh, God, it's the absolute worst. It is the worst. And I'll tell you why. Because the last 2 Sundays, I've got to the back end of the day and I've gone, I am so far off filling that ring. I need 700, whatever it is, calories, move calories, whatever. In a lot of worlds, 700 is not a lot. In other worlds, 700 is a hell of a lot. I once set my treadmill to burn 400 calories and gave up after 200 because holy shit balls, you never realise how much it takes to burn calories. So, last night and last Sunday, I had to go on the treadmill for over an hour to get the rings, complete the rings, fill the rings, do the stuff, to complete the streak, to keep the streak going. But now I'm just stuck in this thing where I have to do it week in, week out. I also now officially do not get a rest day. I don't get a rest day at all. There is no rest in my life. Some people would say that's because there's no rest for the wicked. No rest day. I've had a conversation in the last week about how not resting properly kills your gains. So we've got that joy. Part of me is like, look, I think I just have to accept that I can't complete fill the rings every day. Yeah, that doesn't work. It just doesn't sit right with me. What did I say it was? 37 days or something? Think I'm going to let that streak go? I can't. Here's something that's super cool, though. 3 weeks ago, I put on weight. I put a pound on. I wasn't happy about it. Last week, I didn't lose any weight. I was not happy. But secretly was like, come this Monday, it's going to be absolute gravy. It's going to be amazing. I was preparing to go and weigh myself this morning. I was like, I think we could end up seeing 5 pounds today. It's that kind of area. So, as previously, let's do the breakdown. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the stats for the week. Here we go. Stats for the week look like this. Oh, by the way, I've done 20,058 steps today. Alone, I've done 9.33 miles. The weekly summary. You beat last week's 1,700 calorie daily move goal 7 times. Perfect. Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday were low, but days like Monday were through the roof. Total calories, 13,313. Average calories, 1,901. Steps, 125,706 steps, which is a distance of 58.05 miles. Flights climbed, 35. Active time, 16 hours, 30 minutes. So, did I lose 5 pounds? Did I lose 3 pounds? 2 pounds? A pound? Did I put weight on? Drum roll, please. I lost 0.4 of a pound. So there you go. 0.4 of a pound. 0.4 of a pound. In the last 2 weeks, I've done something like 250,000 steps. And I presume, looking at that, something like 32 hours of activity. How is any of this possible? I could understand if I was eating cheesecake for breakfast. Like a breakfast sandwich, like one of those giant BAP things with like every breakfast item under the sun, and then burger for lunch, takeaway for tea. But hey, I'm putting in the hours in the gym, so it's all going to even out. I could understand if that was it. But that's not it. Honestly, today was the day where I was like, fuck this shit. I started looking at stuff today. I was in a supermarket and I started looking at the goodies. And I was like, well, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Why can't I have that? Why can't I eat that? Why can't I drink that? Why can't I do that? Doesn't really make a difference. Let me ask you this. At this point in time, if I started eating ridiculously, does that mean that I'm just going to start putting on shit tons of weight? Because at this point in time, I can't lose any. I physically can't lose any weight. I'm going absolutely out of my tiny little mind with this. It's proper doing my treeing. And yes, if you refer back to various points through the podcast, I know anybody worth their salt is going to say that's probably not helping your mental health. And I would heartily agree with you. So what's the answer? What is the answer to this? Because I certainly, as I'm demonstrating, do not have the answer to this. So, today being Monday, Monday, it's the worst day of the week. Well, I'm not working at the moment. That makes a big impact on that. And no, it's not because I'm unemployed. I am still employed. I am not working at the moment. It's called paternity leave. My Monday is, in a lot of ways, like I was going to say it's like another day, but it's not. Every day of my life's different. Usually depends on a child-based thing. Like tomorrow, child activity. Wednesday, child activity. Thursday, child activity. So there's a lot of that in my life, and the activities are different every day. So today was the absolute worst fucking day. The absolute worst day. It was awful. Every single thing that could go wrong today not only did go wrong, went wrong in spectacular fashion. I was, as we know, I'm in this horrific depression at the moment. As we know, from what I've just said, I'm struggling with getting on and off the scales and nothing going on there. I'm struggling with the fact that at the moment, I can't stand up in one fluid motion because everything below the waist is in pretty much constant state of that mixture of pain, muscle ache, stiffness. I sat in the same position for 4.8 seconds. Well, let's be in pain. Let's be stiff. Let's be old man. Got all of that going on. The scales, the parenting. And then I've got to go out in the world and deal with fucking assholes. Because, oh my God, what happened? Feels like the pandemic happened and everybody was like, I'm going to be 30% worse to other people. And I think that might be enough, but some days I'm going to be 50% worse to other people. And I can't fucking stand it. People are rude. People are ignorant. People are aggressive. People are just the worst. And I say that phrase every single day. Let me ask you this. When did it become socially acceptable to stop thanking people for letting you by on the road? If there's an obstruction on your side of the road and you stop and the car goes by, when did it become socially acceptable to not give the old hand up wave job? Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you. When was that okay? That has happened more times to me today than any other day, and it happens every time I go out in the car. And it's just the height of rudeness. Today has been the absolute fucking worst day. I think there was a point today where I was taking my shoes off. Simple enough. I put my foot up on the step, 2 steps up. I undid my shoe. And in the process of bending down to undo my shoe, the leg of my shorts, still wearing shorts, the leg of my shorts just exploded. And that was the peak of the day. And I just let loose with a tirade of the naughty words, children, the naughty words. I'm wondering what's left for the day. I'm wondering if today has finished kicking me square in the face. But saying that, probably not. Probably not. There's a multitude of things that can happen in the next 2 hours. Multitude of things. They will all be awful. Anyway, that's the week. Entertainment. Entertainment's been super weird this week. Super weird. TV show-wise, I tried to watch something new so I had something to talk about. It wasn't new, but it was a new episode of something I'd been watching previously. Tried to talk about that. Yeah, when I put it on, it was out of sync. So I came out of it, I went back in, and it was out of sync. And I switched streaming services, and I went back to it, and it was out of sync. And I went, you know what? Piss off. So I tried to watch the next episode of the Mike TV series, Mike Tyson stuff. Nope. It was out of sync. So the other thing I've been watching consistently is I'm still ploughing through It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Absolutely loving it. I've seen the first few series many times. I've talked about this before. I've seen the first few series many times, but not for a long time. So it's been awesome going back and watching those first few series again, because as you'd expect, there's stuff I've forgotten about, and they're great. Movie-wise, nothing new. Nothing new. There's a reason for that, and that is that there isn't anything new. My daughter decided, let's watch a film. I'm like, ooh, talk to me. What have you got? She was like, have you got anything in a Batman? I was like, you have come to the right man. I have loads of stuff in Batman. I was like, we could watch this. I was like, oh, we could watch this. Oh, there's this. I was like, maybe it's time for you to do the Nolan Batmans. They are the peak Batmans. I was like, but really, maybe you should start with the 4 that come before that. I was like, the first one's amazing. Second one's great. It's downhill from there, though. I don't think I sold them well enough to her. And she about faced on me and went, let's watch Superman 3. And I went, cool. As we know, Superman 3, not the worst Superman film. Also not the best. But it was a very strange experience watching Superman 3 because a film that's probably nearly 40 years old had some very interesting things going on in it. Like oil shortages, which drove the price of gasoline through the roof. And there was another thing. Shazbot. There was something else in it, and I was like, oh my God, that's what we're dealing with now. Oh, that somebody said something about it in a passing comment about the price of energy bills would double. And because of that, they couldn't do something. I was like, did this film project the future? I was a little bit put out that having offered a multitude of new things for my eldest to watch, she decided to go with something she'd already seen. A lot of the watching that we do together is a lot of rewatch anyway. So I was like, man, you know, she could have watched something new. At which point I sat down Saturday evening. I was like, I'm going to watch a film. I watched a film that I've seen probably 30 times before. Absolute schlock. I'm not even going to tell you what it is because it's embarrassing. But it very much reiterated with me the importance of comfort films. And I went, yeah, I can see why she goes back to watching these sorts of movies. Computer games. Let's talk about computer games. I need a drink. No VR, unfortunately. I'm thinking about the VR stuff. I do want to get the VR rocking in the new space. But I want to go back to explore the PC VR stuff, and I had an idea about something I could do for that. But as of yet, not managed to pull it off. Console games, I played and finished a very classic for me game in the form of Watch Dogs. The first one. Probably in some ways another guilty pleasure. I really enjoyed the first Watch Dogs. I know it had a little bit of a mixed reception to start with. But I look at Watch Dogs as kind of where are the games like this now? I filled in a survey this evening, for a very important reason. And one of the questions was, name your favourite games in the last 5 years. And I managed to give 2 off the top of my head. And then I really struggled after that. I really struggled. I might have talked about this before, but Watch Dogs is one of, I think it's 3 games. And playing the first one, in my opinion, the first one is great. I think they should look at doing more stuff like that. The second one was just not a good game, and the third one was passable. So what does that tell us? That tells us that, maybe go back and look at the first one again when making a new one. I played it, and I just played I just solidly played the story. I didn't touch a single side mission. And that was a great experience because that's what I was looking for. I'm struggling with games at the moment. I'm really looking for something that grabs hold of me. And obviously there are no new games. The new games that come out are coming out in particularly poor. It's just this real hot mess of games at the moment. So much so that I decided to play a hot mess, admittedly just for a little bit, and I put Anthem on. Now, I know what a lot of people would say about that. Are you insane? And the answer is yes. For me personally, I enjoyed Anthem. I saw a lot of flaws with it. I saw a lot that could have been done to make it a lot better. I had a conversation with somebody the other day about it, and we were saying, realistically, they should have gone solid single player with that game and then really pumped a lot more into it to get that game up a few notches. But I still enjoy it. I've played it a few times, kind of. You say start to finish with this, but there is no finish to one of these games. But I played it start to finish of the main story. Obviously, it was one of those that got abandoned before they ever really did anything to it. I know I was playing it again this time. They have made some changes. You can access all of the javelins from the start. Those are the suits that you use. And it was weird because I played it for like a couple of days. And I was like, yeah, this is great. This is fine. Play it. And then I just went back to playing Watch Dogs. I finished Watch Dogs couple of days ago, and I will admit didn't immediately go straight back to Anthem. I installed about 5 games and just chopped and changed between them up until yesterday, where I was feeling that miserable and just that kind of, I felt I'd been messed about by too much by that point in time, that there was only one solution, and that solution was to buy myself a game. I had my eye on a few, not even a handful of games, over the last few months, possibly even years, that I'm just simply not prepared to pay full price for. I'm not even prepared to pay half price. If you want me to pay 15 quid when you were selling it for 50 originally, we can probably talk. One of the games in question fell into that category, kind of. I think it was like 16 quid. And I was like, they wanted 50 for this originally, and it was digital only. So 16 quid's not that bad. I was like, sod it. It's a game I actually want to play, which is a real rarity these days. So do you know something? Let's spend £16. Obviously, me being me, I didn't spend £16. I went on the internet and found a way to get it cheaper. And then I did it like that. I was going to buy another game. But instead, rather than paying £7.50 for it digitally, I went out and picked it up today. Physical copy, admittedly second hand, but physical copy for $2.99. So no, you could not have £7.50 from me. Anyway, the game that I bought yesterday and played last night is Shadow Warrior 3. Now then, why, you might ask? I played the first Shadow Warrior a lot later in its life. So much later that I picked it up for £10. It was $9.99 when I bought it. Physical copy. I bought it, I played it, and I really enjoyed it. It spoke to me in a lot of ways as a game. Round about this time, the second one was just about to be released, and the second one came out. Mixed reviews on the second one. I bought that one digitally because again, I'm not entirely sure that one had a physical copy. Bought it, played it. Not sure I quite enjoyed it as much as the first. It was different, and we don't like different. Not true. I do like different. Saw some reviews for Shadow Warrior 3. Tried to buy it a while back and found, hey, this is a digital-only game. Now, like I say, there's a possibility that the second one was as well. I don't remember. But it's an unusual concept in a lot of ways. But hey, why not? Like I said, not going to give you 50 quid for it, though. Tried to get it cheaper at that point in time. Found a way to get it for about £35. But it wasn't getting great reviews at that point. So I was a bit like, I think I'm okay. I'll put it on the back burner and I'll pick it up later. Which is what I did. Bought it yesterday, left it to download. The way I've got my TV set up at the moment, I can't turn stuff off. I don't know why, but now the way the TV works is if you turn the TV off, it also turns the console off. Which on one hand is good and on the other hand is not. I have to leave the TV on if I want to download stuff. Annoying. So, put it on and played it last night. I want to say I played it for a couple of hours, but that's not true. Probably played it for about an hour. Yeah, one of those that probably falls into the realms of, it's very much like the reviews sort of said. I felt it was a lot like Diet Doom. You go along, you end up in an area, you fight enemies, you decide how you want to fight them in the different ways with the different tools you've been given to do this. You kill all the enemies and you move on to the next area. That is it in a nutshell. And I mean, that is it in a nutshell. There is very little outside of that. But if that's what you're looking for in a game, which at that point in time I was happy to go with, all gravy. I will continue to play Shadow Warrior 3, and I will let you know what I think of it as I go through it. As I said, I did buy another game today for $2.99. However, it is a game I've played before. It's a game I've probably reviewed before. It is a repurchase, which sometimes happens. Sometimes you get an itch, you got to scratch that itch, if you know what I mean. That, ladies and gents, is it. That's the week. if you're still listening and you keep listening and you keep coming back, I do apologise if the hey, I'm really depressed is not what you're here for. I may have spoken about this previously. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this previously. The podcast, from my perspective, is a lot around being able to talk about stuff. And yes, I know I don't talk about everything, but talking about a little bit is better than nothing. So there we go. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. I'll catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think to that? Bit more of the dark in the darkest timeline. I know. Hopefully, I'll come out of this funk sometime soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this. And if you want to truly be a part of it, you can like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop us a review. Or alternatively, jump over to thecookiecast.com and send us an email. If you send us an email, it's a good one. I'll read it out on air. How's that? That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then.
This is a Cookie Cast production.